Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. His own energy reserve has slowly recovered from 20%. The infinite snake ancestor looked at this troublesome group of lords, knowing in its heart that after the emergence of the new lord, Luo Feng, their original plan to completely destroy all territories of the cultivators had failed. The cultivator camp now has a deeper foundation, destined to be the biggest opponent to the innate primordial life camp. In the endless future years, they will continue to fight until a clear winner is determined. Unexpectedly, faced with the war of extermination, you have birthed a new lord. The infinite snake ancestor spoke, as the group of ancestors behind it also looked afar at Luo Feng and the others. This time was indeed very dangerous. Yuan nodded in acknowledgement. If Luo Feng hadn't made a breakthrough, we would indeed have lost all territories. In previous clashes, they failed time and again. They could only try to delay the opponent's steps, but couldn't prevent the territories from falling. This battle ends here. The infinite snake ancestor spoke. Next time, we'll determine the true victor. Yuan nodded. Next time, we'll determine the true victor. Yuan also had confidence that if another lord joined in the future, the situation would be even better. Let's go. Carried by the mother of spacetime with countless claws, the ancestors all left through space and time, while the 8 lords watched everything. The ceasefire is temporary. Yuan spoke. The ancestors' overall strength surpasses ours. Lord Moman said, looking into the distance. Earlier, when I joined Jin and Ming Huang to burn the main battle avatar for an assault, we had some results. But this time, they were prepared, reducing the effect of our assault notably. It was still Luo Feng's forbidden technique that created a chance. Dividing me and the battle array actually gave me an opportunity. Luo Feng smiled faintly. Starlight said, absorbing source world origin, and the threat of death both might lead the ancestors to evolve. After this war, it is estimated that some ancestors will make breakthroughs. The lords will progress, and the ancestors will as well. Mastering the highest level power is not the limit for the ancestors. They will continue to evolve until reaching the level like Infinite Snake Ancestor, and Initial, which is the ultimate in one direction, undying and undying. Though the ancestors may advance further, they are no match for us cultivators. Ming Huang confidently smiled, and indeed, from the early days when the gap was huge, step by step to the present, the gap continues to narrow. Let's return to the land of origin, and study the ancestors' corpses carefully. Yuan smiled. Regardless of the outcome, this war has ended. We resisted the joint attack of over 100 ancestors. Facing other camps afterward will be much easier. Wu Lan also remarked. At least we can relax for a while. Jin laughed heartily. Brother Luo Feng, as promised, after the war ends, you must join me in exploring the mysterious land. Our cultivated territory still has many worlds occupied by other camps. We should first reclaim all the cultivated territory, before you two go exploring. Yuan said. All right, I'm not in a hurry. Jin said with a smile. Luo Feng curiously asked, Jin, where are you planning to explore? Abyss of Destruction. Jin said, I've been there many times, always lacking a powerful companion. I'll send you detailed information about the Abyss of Destruction now. The 8 lords chatted leisurely as they returned to the land of origin. End of this episode. Tomorrow Tomato will take a day off, and the day after tomorrow the next episode will start updating. The college entrance exam has also begun. Tomato wishes all the students taking the entrance exam to jot down beautifully and achieve top rankings. 12 years of hard study will ultimately pay off. Good luck, young people. The land of origin, the council hall. Inside the council hall, there is a black round table. The entire table is crystalline, made from the largest piece of dark realm crystal ever discovered in the infinite primordial space, invaluable, worth several ancestor-level corpses. Only the cultivator camp could produce such rare treasures. In the weaker forces within the infinite primordial space, possession of such a treasure would likely lead to the doom of the entire race. The cultivator camp, as one of the three major camps in the infinite primordial space. Despite being suppressed by the largest force, the innate primordial life camp, for endless eras, the strength of the cultivator camp is also universally acknowledged. Beside the round table are 8 chairs, also crafted from dark realm crystal. 8 figures descended into the council hall. Yuan, Jin, Wulan, Ming Huang, Nai Jiyu, Starlight, Mo Man, and Luo Feng each took their seats. These 8 are the highest-ranking existence within the cultivator camp, deciding the fate of countless cultivators. Sitting on the dark realm crystal chair, Luo Feng instantly sensed a spacetime formation. The spacetime formation, with the black round table as its core, connects the entire spacetime net. In an instant, the 3,600 world groups within the spacetime net fell within the sensing range. Even though some world groups had been overrun and the spacetime net thereby damaged, the spacetime net from past timelines was still intact and could still survey the realm. Seated here, Luo Feng observed the 3,600 world groups, innumerable source worlds, countless ordinary worlds, whether intact or ruined, each reflecting in his mind. The council hall finally has an additional seat. Yuan looked at Luo Feng, smiling brightly. It's been so difficult. After endless ages, we've finally welcomed a new lord. It's really too slow for our cultivator camp to birth a lord, Jin remarked with emotion. After all, mastering the highest power, Tao, is of course much harder than for those ancestors, said Starlight. For ancestors, their emergence is relatively easier. During this war, several ancestors emerged. After the war, digesting some of the gains, ancestors will have some improvements. First, allocate the spoils of this war. Yuan chaired the meeting, stating, in this war, we killed a total of 11 ancestors. This is unprecedented. Before this war, we had only killed 14 ancestors over endless eras, Wulan marveled, and in this war alone, we killed as many as 11. The tide has turned, Starlight smiled. Thanks to Luo Feng, Nai Jiyu sighed. Initially, we were retreating one step at a time. It was Luo Feng's breakthrough that greatly increased our overall strength. His joining allowed us to kill 8 ancestors in a short time. After Luo Feng became a lord and suddenly joined the battle, it immediately led to the demise of 3 ancestors. Later, when Luo Feng was forcibly captured by the ancestors' side, and separated from his own faction, Luo Feng's then 10.8 billion origin explosion indirectly resulted in the demise of 5 ancestors. All thanks to Ming Huang, Luo Feng said. Within the situation where Starlight Lord and the Infinite Snake Ancestor, and Mother of Spacetime, were mutually restraining each other, although Starlight Lord remained superior, it was difficult to deliver a fatal blow to those ancestors. Ming Huang's thunder, powerful and terribly condensed. Strikes swiftly. Strikes if it moves. These 3 aspects caused many ancestor deaths, all reaped by Ming Huang. Those ancestors struggled against you all with all their might. I simply delivered the final blow, Ming Huang laughed. First allocate the spoils of war, Yuan laughed as he said, 11 ancestors' corpses, each lord gets a 10th. The rest are reserved at the land of origin for the entire cultivator camp. Even though each lord's contribution varied, and even Luo Feng had not participated in the battle of the demise of 3 ancestors, the distribution of the cultivator camp has always been thus. As long as one participates in part of the battle, the spoils of war are evenly distributed. Among the 8 lords present, besides Lord Nigu, who particularly needed materials from ancestor corpses, the other lords were all meditating on the Tao, not in urgent need of ancestor materials. These 11 ancestors also carried many treasures with them. The old rules still divide evenly. The remainder is for the camp as a whole. Yuan also produced those treasures. The lords all casually selected a portion. Unless urgently needed, there would be no scramble. The ancestors had to fight with their true bodies. Without a life core, avatars are too weak, not even 30% of their strength. In this level of war between the two major camps, it's essentially meaningless. Like Starlight, merely reducing 3% of energy reserve diminished his role significantly in the war. This shows that in the war between the two major camps, one must be sufficiently strong enough to be dazzling, to play a discernible role. When Luo Feng had pinnacle energy reserve, his recovery was terrifying, powerful in close combat, and could seize opportunities to execute fearsome forbidden techniques. Once the energy reserve diminishes greatly, a decline in all aspects. The ancestors being internally divided at the time, with strong anti-war sentiment, if they had attacked with full strength, it would have been possible to defeat Luo Feng's main battle avatar, remaining with only 20% energy reserve. Of course, even a temporary victory. The 8 lords could still recover and return in full force. This is also why many ancestors were anti-war. War spoils allocation complete, Yuan said, let's move on to the next agenda. With the birth of a new lord, our cultivator camp must reallocate territory according to the rules, and redistribute subordinates. Yuan looked at the other lords, and the present lords all listened attentively. First, the Dark World Group, as Luo Feng's homeland, will become his absolute territory, Yuan said. Secondly, each lord has the responsibility to guard the border and thus needs to bear part of the world groups on the border. In the air above the round table, began to appear a miniature of the 3,600 world groups. Yuan began the allocation. 8 lords, each uses their absolute territory as a guide, ultimately extending to the borders. Each lord's territory somewhat resembles the shape of a twisted fish. I need the Qingjiang world group. Lord Minghuang spoke. She drew her hand across, claiming 3 world groups and simultaneously yielding the others. The previous 7 lords, having invested a lot of effort across vast territories, held some world groups as uniquely significant to them, and opened their mouths one by one, making slight adjustments to their territories. Only Luo Feng, who hadn't invested effort in other world groups, was open to slight adjustments in his territory. Does everyone have no objections? Yuan looked at the 7 lords and nodded slightly. Good, since no one has objections. Then this territory division is settled. With territory allocation completed, adjustments to the subordinate world-level primordial and high-level primordial life forms are necessary as well. Yuan said, the high-level primordial life within the territory naturally belongs to the Lord's command. As for the world-level primordial, if a Lord's disciple, they belong to the respective Lord. Without master-disciple, or such special relationships, they are divided according to territory. The 7 lords had no objections. Many world-level primordials received the cultivation from lords before breaking free from the braided cage. About 1/3 truly apprenticed. Luo Feng, as a new breakthrough, naturally hadn't accepted any world-level primordial disciple yet. Under my command, there are 23 world-level primordials, over 10 million and 25,000 high-level primordials. Luo Feng looked at the final allocation plan, which included 20 captured world-level primordials, and over 8 billion captured high-level primordials. This war saw significant increases in the number of captives for the cultivator camp as well. Luo Feng, your cultivator world-level primordials are slightly fewer. Yuan smiled. Those little ones within the braided cage, you can cultivate them more, train several as world-level primordial disciples, naturally they become yours. Luo Feng understood. The other 7 lords had invested countless efforts in cultivation, being slightly less himself was reasonable too. I'll slowly cultivate them in future. Luo Feng said. No objections regarding this allocation plan. Yuan looked at his partners, with no objection, I'll distribute the plan now. Once confirmed, they had to notify the cultivator camp's world-level primordials and high-level primordials. After all, territories were divided, subordinates allocated. Future authority responsibilities needed to be reassessed. Distribute it. No objections. The 7 lords confirmed this matter. Then we begin the third agenda. Yuan continued, with the emergence of a new lord, we must determine how our cultivator camp will cultivate younger generations in this new era. Cultivation strategies were jointly discussed and decided by the 8 lords. Firstly, reclaim a large number of resources from all world groups. Lord Moman said, previously, since all world groups might fall completely, vast resources were released freely for exchange. Now the war has ended. Naturally, changes must be made. Many world groups might perish. Countless creatures might go extinct, giving them broader exchange rights, a greater hope to break free from the braided cage. But now, territory is secured. Those divine emperor-level cultivators have endless lifespans, seeking resources. The difficulty naturally increases greatly. With such free exchange, indeed, our cultivator camp cannot afford it. Lord Naijiu said, need to consider the long term. While lords were discussing in the hall, the territory division plan, cultivation division plan, were disseminated to every world-level primordial, high-level primordial life form in the land of origin. The entire land of origin, a massive number of cultivators received the news. At this moment, Qianlang Ku and 2 friends gathered together, they also received the news. Our cultivator camp has birthed the 8th Lord Luo Feng, 8 lords joined forces, completely won this war. Guang Yu, Kai Feng Daoist, Qianlang Ku, a total of 23 world-level primordial life forms, please proceed to Sky Moon Sea Cave Mansion, waiting for Lord Luo Feng's audience. Qianlang Ku stared blankly at the message. Lord Luo Feng. The horned man Guang Yu was immensely excited. Unexpectedly, while we worried about war, our cultivator camp birthed a new lord. The news of the new lord's birth was kept entirely confidential. Lord Luo Feng already partook in battle, and the war is even over. Victory in war, only then was it made public. Kai Feng Daoist also excited, we must hurry now, head to Sky Moon Sea Cave Mansion, waiting for Lord Luo Feng's audience. Let's go. Guang Yu looked at the side companion, urging, Brother Qianlang, what's on your mind? Hurry up, it's our first audience with Lord Luo Feng. Such an opportunity can't afford any negligence. Oh? Qianlang Ku replied, somewhat dazed, immediately set out with companions heading to the Sky Moon Sea Cave Mansion. At this moment, Qianlang Ku somewhat understood why his breakthrough hadn't prompted a summon from the Lord. In the council hall, there was a heated debate among the lords on how to train the successors of cultivators. We have already reclaimed many important resources and raised the exchange threshold. Lord Wulan couldn't help but say, Jin, do you think we need to continue cutting resources? This way, the resources are too scarce. Where is it scarce? Jin sat there, shaking his head. When Yuan was weak, the entire cultivator camp didn't have a single lord. Back then, there were no good resources. Yuan could only comprehend the rule operation of the source world origin, and didn't he become a lord? When I was weak, the cultivator camp had only Elder Yuan as a lord, and the resources were very scarce, yet didn't I also make my way through? Look at Luo Feng. Jin said, Luo Feng rose from the very bottom of a weak, primordial cosmos in his homeland source world. The resources can be ignored. Later, He went through hardships to reach the core area of the source world, the land of origin, and was still very poor. At that time, the land of origin was dominated by two ancient countries, and resources were nearly monopolized by them. When Luo Feng left the source world and reached the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, he was still poor and couldn't afford primordial bloodlines, only able to buy fragmentary materials of low-level primordial life. Jin said, "What does this illustrate?" "It illustrates that fewer resources can squeeze out stronger potential," Jin said. "If given too much, these successors wouldn't cherish it." Luo Feng nodded with a smile. "Brother Jin knows quite a lot about me, and I agree with what Brother Jin said. The successors of cultivators must adapt to the poverty-style cultivation method, with resources sufficiently scarce, yet still able to reach the ultimate realm of Godly King. It means they are worth training. With scarce conditions, achieving the ultimate realm of Godly King, becoming half primordial, is far more challenging than now. Those who are screened under such conditions, when exposed to top resources, might jump out of the braided cage," Luo Feng said. He himself tried to extract the potential of every resource. Luo Feng's cultivation path also proves another point, Yuan said. When he stepped into the Divine Emperor stage, he was completely exploring the path in the dark, without any inheritance to refer to. The inheritance we left before proved to be harmful. Wu Lan also agreed. The more powerful the existence, the greater the impact of their inheritance. It makes it difficult for successors to walk their own path. Any inheritance that leaps out of the braided cage, I think should not be spread, Yuan said. Let the successors explore for themselves. Agree. Agree. One lord after another nodded. They had walked many erroneous paths, and all previous experiences proved one point: becoming a lord requires personal exploration. Regarding resources, in this era, according to Luo Feng's experience, Yuan smiled, let the successors grow under scarce resources. Once they are excellent enough, then provide the resources accordingly. Agree. Agree. One after another voted, and according to historical rules, the cultivation experience of the new era will mostly refer to the breakthrough experience of the new lord. Brother Luo Feng also rose from the source world. Mo Man marveled. To date, 8 lords have emerged from the source world. It shows that although we have created billions of worlds with more creatures, the innate talents and qualifications have flaws. The worlds we create are fundamentally different from the source world, Yuan said. As the existence mastering the primordial rules of operation, he has always pursued creating a source world but never succeeded. Future resources should be more inclined towards the source world, Wu Lan said. After all, only the source world can possibly give birth to new lords. I think the entire cultivator territory should prohibit the existence of calamity-type cultivators, Luo Feng said. A cultivator who takes all creatures of the source world as resources may achieve something, but cuts off the hope for all other creatures in the source world. Resentments, weak prey on the strong, Luo Feng can understand. But such calamity types that slaughter a realm's creatures, even spanning multiple reincarnation eras and continuously harvesting the creatures of the source world, should not exist. Brother Luo Feng, I am a calamity-type cultivator. Jin looked at Luo Feng. So am I, Nai Jiyu looked at Luo Feng. Jin looked at Luo Feng. I was born into the Destruction Demon clan, under the influence of the source world. It's my fate to destroy all life. I descended into destruction, mastered destruction, and thus finally became a lord. For my cultivation path, all life should serve as my resources, Nai Jiyu said indifferently. Even in the future, I need the corpses of one ancestor after another as my resources. Every path has its own meaning. Jin looked at Luo Feng. Calamity-type cultivators have their meaning of existence. Pure destruction cannot birth life. Luo Feng said, even you have comprehended part of the mystery of life. The primordial destruction path Jin mastered actually contains a portion of life, otherwise, it couldn't form a life form. I first descended into destruction to ultimately transcend and master destruction, Jin said. Every cultivator has a different path. No path's growth should be restricted. Any path could give birth to a lord. Ming Huang said coldly, the path of overwhelming sins, destroying countless lives, should not exist. What is sin? Nai Jiyu looked at Ming Huang. In this infinite primordial space, only strength and weakness exist. Sin is just what your heart believes. Ming Huang, you are too narrow-minded. We are all life, Luo Feng said, hence we should have compassion for the weak. We were all born from weakness. The weak prey on the powerful, dying because of weakness. That is destiny, Nai Jiyu calmly said. Yuan felt a headache witnessing this scene. In the previous long years, lords also had conflicts. Jin, Nai Jiyu, and Mo Man are considered one faction. Of course, Lord Mo Man is not as extreme as Jin and Nai Jiyu. He quite appreciates the cultivation method of the weak prey on the strong. Ming Huang's heart is benevolent, and Wulan admires Ming Huang quite a bit. They are considered one faction. Yuan is inclusive of everything, and Starlight is more of an observer, not participating in the struggle. It seems that Ming Huang and Luo Feng's attitudes are close, and the fight will be fiercer in the future. Yuan felt quite helpless. Previously, the strongest opposition Ming Huang was somewhat isolated, but the addition of Luo Feng, who breaks laws with force, gradually balances the strength of the two major factions. Compassion for the weak. The innate primordial life camp will not pity the weak, Jin retorted. Luo Feng, you are also cultivating the primordial life and death Tao. Don't you understand that the weak will ultimately be destroyed? Jin. Destruction is to protect life. Luo Feng looked at him. Both sides have profound research on life and destruction, but their directions are evidently different. A harsh environment can help them grow better, Mo Man said. Brother Luo Feng, when you were growing, you also faced catastrophic existences. In your weakness, you faced the golden horned giant beast. Later, you faced the sector beast. Such catastrophic cultivators can provide enough powerful motivation for other cultivators. The catastrophic cultivators we need to target can destroy all creatures in the source world, Luo Feng said. Faced with such an existence, weak cultivators don't even have a chance to resist. All right. Yuan finally spoke. Stop arguing, let's stick to the old rules. First, if you lords have ideas, you can implement them within your own absolute territory. In other vast areas of the cultivator territory, we'll continue following the free-range strategy. Second, if persuasion doesn't work, rely on strength. If anyone can defeat the combined efforts of other lords, then we'll follow their decision. If you lack strength, endure it. Upon Yuan's words, the lords fell silent. Defeating other lords all by oneself. In the entire infinite primordial space, no one can do that. There's no way. Luo Feng secretly sighed. The lords disagreed with each other's ideas, and had to seek common ground while reserving differences. Once, in his weaker days, Luo Feng thought that becoming a lord would allow him to completely create rules based on his own ideas. Yet, now as a lord, he realized, his capacity to enact change was still limited. Not to mention the enemy camp. Even their own camp required decision-making alongside the other 8 lords. Next matter, Yuan immediately started on the next agenda. A grand celebration must be held for the birth of a new lord as per tradition. The birth of a lord is quite special. For the innate primordial life camp, even the birth of several ancestors won't lead to any celebration. Only the birth of an undying existence, capable of having a seat in the land of eternity, warrants a grand celebration. Every lord receives attention from the entire infinite primordial space and naturally has a seat in the land of eternity, hence the celebration. Let's reclaim the territory first, Luo Feng said. our cultivator territory's 3,600 world groups, many are yet to be reclaimed. Once the territory is reclaimed, we'll hold the celebration. Very well, as per your idea, Yuan nodded. Our main priority next is how to reclaim the territory. The 8 lords began to discuss. Internally, they had differences. Externally, they still stood together. Even personalities like Jin and Naijiu understood how much aid the cultivator camp had provided them. Quickly, a complete reclamation plan was formulated, with tasks assigned to each of the 8 lords. Land of Origin, Sky Moon Sea Cave Mansion. At this moment, a bustling crowd of high-level primordial beings gathered outside the cave mansion. They were extremely excited, discussing amongst themselves, and waiting for an audience with Lord Luo Feng. The last time I saw the Lord, he was merely a half-primordial being. In less than 2,000 epochs, the Lord has already reached the pinnacle, even concluding the war. The small old man Cheng was quite excited, surrounded by a large group of companions. They belonged to the group of high-level primordial beings from the Dark World Group. In the past, the Dark World Group was quite inconspicuous. Now, the Dark World Group is the homeland of Lord Luo Feng. It is Lord Luo Feng's absolute territory. Our Dark World Group has become the Lord's absolute territory. It will flourish tenfold, 100-fold in the future. We, his fellow countrymen, will also be heavily utilized. Outside the absolute territory, the free-range strategy is implemented. With the birth of a new lord, territories are also redrawn. Therefore, only the absolute territory receives the full focus of the lord, naturally leading to immense prosperity. Besides over 10 million high-level primordial beings, there were also 23 world-level primordial beings waiting outside the cave mansion. Tian Lang, Ku was among these 23 world-level primordial beings. Brother Tian Lang, you are a fellow countryman of the Lord. As the only world-level primordial existence born in the Dark World Group, you will surely be heavily utilized by the Lord. A companion beside him said with a delighted smile, I believe among the 3 main inspector positions, you'll secure one. Other world-level primordial beings mostly looked at Tian Lang Ku with envy. After all, being a fellow countryman with the Lord means being heavily utilized, which is perfectly ordinary. The Lord's first visit to the land of origin, over 10,000 high-level primordial beings from the same world group went to pay respects, yet this Tian Lang Ku didn't go. The world-level primordial Zhu Hua observed from the side. Suddenly, an invisible wave descended. All 23 world-level primordial beings, over 10 million high-level primordial beings fell silent, sensing their own insignificance under the terrifying aura. A man in black attire and black hair descended from the void. Tian Lang Ku looked at this presence, seeing his Lord Luo Feng for the first time. As a world-level primordial born in the absolute territory, he would forever be under Lord Luo Feng's command in the endless years to come. Greetings, Lord. All 23 world-level primordial beings respectfully saluted. Greetings, Lord. Over 10 million high-level primordial beings, each exceedingly respectful. Only when one faces the true body of the Lord can they comprehend the immense gap, akin to a chasm between themselves and the Lord. This video will end here.